Would you hire your 21-year-old self?
It's official. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sweat Equity Podcast for Entrepreneurs, brought to you by M40 Concepts and Peaks Marketing Solutions. We are going to talk a little bit about hiring today, more on the employee side versus the management side. We are in the bar business and the restaurant industry, so that is kind of what we're going to really tackle today and give a couple of examples, a couple of do's, a couple of don'ts, a couple of red flags, a couple of green flags, and what we personally look for when we go out and do our interviews and hire people. And it is an adventure at times because you get some wild ones, and then you get some great ones, and then you get some not so good ones. And one thing that we try to do, because we do have such a strong want to work for us, we try not to actually post on our media that we are hiring, just because we just get such an influx. We did do a 3-day hiring deal one time, and we actually had 40, 50 people come in over those 3 days, and it was a really big success for us, actually. We were doing a really hard changeover, and it worked. We found some really great applicants and actually hired a few of them ourselves. So today we're just going to talk about a little of the do's, the don'ts, the red flags, the green flags of hiring. So one of the major things that I always say, especially in the bar industry, because people, when they bartend, it is, I don't want to say it's an arrogant habit, but a lot of people, they think they're the best bartender. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of how it is. You may work in a speed bar, but a lot of people that work in busier atmospheres and faster paced environments, they feel like they are the best bartender and God's gift to bartenders. And that can create a severe crutch in your business when they aren't what they think they are. And I've always said that I can train a monkey to make drinks, but you can't teach personality. No. So I guess we can start with that. How big of a decision is it on the personality when you sit down with somebody in an interview, and what do you guys look for when you're interviewing for a position, whether it be a bar back, a bartender, or a server?
I think one thing that we always really look at is just how we get along. Like you can kind of tell pretty quickly if there's going to be a vibe or not, right?
Yeah.
And I don't bartend, but I've seen it happen where, maybe you have a couple people behind the bar and they literally just don't gel together, and it's such an awkward bar to sit at. So I think that that's so important. And that's the personality side of it. We're always going to have different personalities, but different personalities can vibe or they can't. Yeah, so, absolutely. We really try to ask them a lot about how they view teamwork and how they can help pick up the slack if, someone is busy or whatever it is. And when you get the answers to those, you can kind of tell if they're going to at least fit in the vibe part of things.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. As long as you vibe with them. I'm a very nervous person when it comes to interviewing. So I really take that into consideration when interviewing somebody. Because I'll even hold back, because in an interview, you want to tell the people what they want to hear. You want to impress them. And so you just answer when they ask and give them like short, sweet, to the point, what they want to know. So I do take that into consideration, because yes, you're going to have your interview, but that's just the first minuscule step of the whole process. Because, you're not going to really see that true person. Some people will show you their true personalities immediately, but it does take time. It takes me time to get out of my shell, to get comfortable around people. So I do take that into consideration. Not everybody, but that does happen.
Yeah.
So,
and bar interviews are a lot different than corporate interviews.
Totally, yes.
And I remember the first few interviews that I helped, I think it was with Juwan with, I checked myself real quick. I was like, okay, this isn't this isn't a normal interview for what, and they're all normal. That's not what I mean, but what I was used to. So, and it was funny. I think it also kind of happened when we brought in our area manager. We did a lot of interviews that day, and you could tell that Cody was kind of coming from that world too, and his interview style were different. It's funny you say that about the anxiety thing and the nervous thing. We actually hired a girl that she had created a TikTok that we saw afterwards, and it was her getting ready for the day and what she was going to wear, and she's talking through that process and kept talking about how nervous she was. And honestly, during the interview, you could definitely tell that. And but we had the vibe with her that we're like, okay, you know, it's normal to be nervous. If you're not nervous, that's, you know, something's wrong.
Agreed.
Yeah. And even Chris, you said you would have hired her.
It wasn't a good interview. It wasn't the best interview from what I understand. I remember when y'all got done, I talked to her a little bit, but it definitely was not the best interview. But after seeing her, we'd actually decided to hire her and bring her on and give her a second chance, because I think that we all recognize just how nervous she was. And that doesn't necessarily reflect into how your work ethic is. People are good test takers. Some people aren't good test takers. It's the same thing. Some people are good interviewers and some people aren't good interviewers. And hers was not the best interview, but we did see her. We actually did go ahead and hire her. She was already in training, and then we saw her that TikTok that you speak of, and apparently, you know, 500,000 other people did too as well, because she has a very large following. And she even said it in her or at the end of her interview when she got back in her car. I don't think I got that. But it's okay. God is good. I'm exactly where I need to be. He's going to take care of me, this, that, and the other. And, you know, had we not hired her and I were to have seen that TikTok, I would have called her back and hired her.
Yeah.
You know, because it just speaks to her character. A lot of it spoke to her character. I'll ask you guys, since y'all have trained and interviewed countless numbers of bartenders over the years now. We don't have a lot of turnover, but we have a lot of years under our belt to where it's, you know, we have lost people, you know, to whatever circumstances. But what is it that you guys see different when you train now versus when you trained as just a bartender before you became an owner? Do y'all notice that you look at things differently now when you train them versus when you were just a bartender? Because it is your business at this point now you're training them for, not just to work next to you or another shift a night that you don't have anything to do with.
I mean, I guess with that, for me, it's, I don't know, I'm weird. Like, be yourself. Because if you're not yourself, when you get behind the bar, it's going to prove it. It's going to mess everything up.
Yeah.
Because now you've lied on your application, you lied in your interview, you've lied about how good you are, and just like, now I have to pick up the pace with you and all these other people, because what you told me, what you promised me, I 100% brag to these other your coworkers here, to myself, to the team, and like now I'm like, this is embarrassing.
Do you feel like now as an owner though, when you do train behind the bar and you train people to bartend and or bring them up to speed to where we are, do you feel like you're a little bit more lenient? When I say that, more understanding may be a better word, versus, you know, as a bartender, when you get a trainee, it's kind of like when we brought Bailey on and you're like, whatever, man, you hardly spoke to her, you didn't want her next to you wanted to make your own money. Because as a bartender, when you're training somebody, you never know if, one, you're training your replacement, to be quite honest with you. I actually trained my replacement at one bar one time, unbeknownst to me. But you don't necessarily tie in the business to the training when you're just a bartender versus when you're an owner.
And to speak on it also, I'm not trying to blame anything on anything, but I will say it's just a different group of people these days. I remember 5 years ago, everybody was eager and wanted to work and wanted to put in the extra work and wanted to be there. It's now the mentality has turned into, it's I'm going to be honest, it's really it's hard to hire the newer generation because it's not my job is the mentality these days.
They're so
and I'm not trying to be negative, and it's very sensitive, and it's not even like a coachable world anymore, because when you try to coach, it's, they're getting on to me and they're telling me my way is the wrong way, rather than taking it and utilizing the tools that we know that work.
You have
God,
to.
I'm not trying to be so negative. I'm so sorry about that. But that is, but that is
true.
also
It's not
another
negative.
problem that we deal with. You know, I haven't trained somebody in now almost a year and a half. Thank you, Jawan.
I think as leaders, you know, we have to take those things into consideration. Yeah, because every generation is different. I think we've done a good job about it. I think it's like there's some people that when you need to write them up, that you maybe tell them what they're doing right first, as opposed to what they're doing wrong. My generation, probably all of us, really just get to the point. Constructive criticism. I won't get my feelings hurt. Just tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I'll get it corrected. But everybody's different, so we as leaders really have tried our hardest to figure out how to handle that. But it's a different generation, and it's, you know, and also just with COVID, it just changed a lot of things too. So
that's where my finger was pointing, but I didn't want to.
I mean,
call out, but COVID did ruin everything.
It did. COVID changed everything.
Especially
people
in
were
this
just
industry.
Yes.
People were just giving money during COVID, and so now it's just like, oh well, I don't have to do this. I'm gonna get money regardless.
gonna get a handout.
They're not getting the money now that they were in COVID, but most people are just like, oh, I'm gonna get something somehow, some way. You know,
I still don't think that the world has recovered from
Nah, because I mean, you still get to this day right now. There are some food vendors. I'm not gonna say any names. They're like, oh yeah, well, COVID's like, bro, COVID was 5 years ago.
Dude, I legit saw somebody last week driving in their car
with a mask
by
on.
themselves with a mask on.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
But we have to think.
We're not going to we don't even have to we might piss a lot of people off with the COVID talk. 'Cause, you know, we're a little
maybe
more.
there's another sickness going
Yeah.
on.
So
you know?
we're not speaking bad on that. It's just we're speaking on the people who use it as an excuse still to this day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it changed this industry so much, and I think that's probably a podcast on its own. but
Yeah, that's true.
It definitely changed personalities. It definitely changed what people think or what they feel they deserve in pay, even.
Yeah.
Our, you know, labor has gone way up and everything. But
Yeah.
I want to touch on, you mentioned something about, you know, just telling people to be themselves. And I do, like, that's something that you do really well. You know, we're not in the business of hiring our friends, but we have hired people that we know. And I've always seen, like, you've done really well. They're probably nervous their first few shifts. And what Joanne will tell them is, just be yourself. Let people see your personality. And then I think that's something that goes back to why we hire for that, because we can make mistakes all day long. Well, we're not all day long, but you can make mistakes. And if you have, you know, if you've been respectable, if you're loyal to people, if you show them, you know, your true colors and you're a kind, good person, they'll forgive those mistakes.
For sure.
But if you're somebody that's a bartender behind the bar with an attitude, or you're not providing the best customer service and there's a mistake, that's not going to be forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we've touched on that a little bit at one point. I think I was telling you about a reel or something I was watching. It was talking about people aren't going to get on Yelp and do the reviews and the Facebook reviews if you overcook a steak or you make a bad cocktail. They're going to get on Yelp and Facebook reviews and things like that depending on how you handle it.
Absolutely.
You know, if you come out and hey, I am so sorry, I didn't put in the right recipe, or I'm so sorry we accidentally overcooked your steak. How can we make it up to you? I've already got another one on the grill cooking for you. What can I do for you? Can I bring you some bread? Can I bring you something in the meantime while you wait? Your dessert's already on me. At that point, they're already, all's forgiven, you know? But it is, no, we didn't. We didn't cook your steak. No, I made that recipe. If you don't like it, then order another drink. No, I'm not going to reimburse you.
Yeah, that's
That's
not.
whenever you
The
get
problem
into
is
it.
there's too many people like that right now who just think like their answer is the right answer and there's no other way. And you can't be in this industry and be that way. Plain and simple.
Now,
So that would go to, like, you know, do we hire, what do y'all think? Is it better to hire green or somebody with experience? Like a lot more
Green.
experience?
I like both.
Mildly green.
I like both, because I mean, I'll hire somebody that I've seen
Turquoise.
worked in right, turquoise. Yeah. I'd rather hire somebody who's worked in like a fine dining atmosphere in our industry now than somebody who's worked in our industry.
Yeah.
Because somebody that works, down the street at just a bar, never had any kind of fine dining like experience, or even elevated dining. I wouldn't say all fine dining. They're not gonna know how to treat certain guests. They're just gonna match that same energy. We've hired somebody like that. It's like that person comes in drunk, or that person gets drunk. They talk smart to one of our bartender, and she cusses them out. I was like, well.
And I mean, if you've worked in fine dining, you pay attention to those details. You see those crumbs on the table. So we know that your attention to detail is very, very high. So that's extremely important, because you're not just looking at the drinks that you're making. You're looking at, how's Sheila doing 12 feet away at the end of the bar, and you can sense that, and you know where she's sitting. You know where her attitude is sitting and her drink.
Yeah. What about somebody that's been bartending for 15 years?
That's a no for me.
Yeah. Why?
Hard habits are really difficult to break, and that goes down to attitude, drink pouring, drink making. Yeah. Somebody 15 years into the industry is not usually the most coachable person. We brought up Lexus earlier. She was the girl that we brought in that didn't interview well, and she was green, but she's very coachable. And so we asked her to do something. She's not the most star-talented bartender we've ever hired, but she's very coachable, and she's eager to learn, and she really takes pride in her job. Those are things that you can't teach.
Right.
Normally what I've found as well is bartenders that are a decade plus into their bartending career, which means they're normally into their 30s at some point, maybe into their mid to late 30s at that point. Because bartending is a black hole when it comes to finance. Amen. It's really, really hard to get out of bartending and go to an every other week paycheck. And I would say 7 or 8 out of 10 that try to leave the bar industry come right back at least twice before they ever actually make it out. It's because if they've been in there a decade, they don't know how to budget their money 2 weeks at a time. Because it's like, if it's the 28th and you need rent 2 days from then, you can pick up weekend shifts and make your rent. And so you're constantly dealing with cash every single day. So those ones that are tenured in, their habits are really hard to break. And a lot of times they're just cantankerous, grumpy people. And that's
me.
That spills over into your customer service. That's not always the case. But I've found in a lot of ways, if we think of some bars where we know some older bartenders, they're usually over it. You don't get the customer service and the eagerness that you're going to get from a young bartender. And so for me, I would rather hire a little more green. Now, one red flag that I've always been taught not to hire from is people that come from bartending school. I've never hired anybody that has went to a bartending school. And reason being is the bartending school can teach you drink recipes, but it doesn't teach you how to make real life drinks on the fly in a timely manner to where you can deal with 3, 4, 5 customers at a time.
It doesn't teach you true service, period.
Exactly. Yeah. And so if you turn in an application or a resume that says I went to bartending school, it goes to the 110 file for me.
Gotcha.
So, that's, for me, I would rather hire someone with little to no experience that is eager to learn versus somebody that has been somewhere for 10 years and they got let go for whatever reason. Because at 10 years, you're not usually just leaving for some reason. You probably got let go for a reason that you don't really want to hire them for anyway.
Or you're walking away, for sure.
Walking away. Business closing.
What's a big red flag in an interview for you guys when you're talking in an interview and you're asking them, about their previous jobs or their previous experience? What's a red flag for you guys?
I have 2 of them. My number one is if you're talking bad about your previous management or your previous job or just anything bad or negative to say about anybody, honestly, whether it's your last job, your mom, your dad, I don't know. Just do not speak negatively about anybody or anything in an interview. Also, my second is I am going to see how long you're at jobs. So when I look at interviews, if you've only been at this job for 6 months, this job at 6 months, this job, well, then you're just a stepping stone for us as well. So we're not here to hire you for 6 months and then put you on the schedule, train you, put all of our, eggs in one basket for you to leave us,
Yep.
So 100% how long you keep a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's big. And touching on that even a little bit is like, I know how much time y'all put into training somebody and getting them where you really want them to be. And this happens a lot in this industry, especially if you've trained somebody green. It's really frustrating when they leave. I think that's always been one of your biggest pet peeves. And, when you spend 6 months on somebody and they come from, maybe just being a server and now they're becoming a great bartender and then they just go somewhere else. That's
build the schedule around them.
And the people that hire them repeatedly are a little frustrating too.
We kind of started a whole bar on the other side of the street with green bartenders that we started training. I'm not going to say any names, but there is a full bar that people we trained.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they came to us and not them. Just remember that.
Yeah.
And then half of them try to bash us at times. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I saw you at my bar yesterday still, though.
Yeah.
I think one red flag for us would be when we try to hire people in a rush,
Yeah, for sure.
I think that like if you're, I don't know if it's out of desperation because somebody, ended up getting a different job or whatever it is, but what has never worked for us is when we're hiring in a rush. It's a lot better when it's a plan, and better when maybe just the right person comes along and you don't even need a position for them, but you figure out where to put them on to just let them pick them up. I mean, that's how Chris found you.
Yeah, honestly.
It wasn't like he posted that he was hiring or something. So hiring, that's a red flag on our end. We gotta be
Not
ready.
in a rush.
Am I a little old school when I say even though we are a bar and we get to wear basically this to work, am I old school in saying still dress up for an interview?
No, not at all.
Because that's a real red flag to me. If y'all remember, we interviewed someone that came in a almost crop shirt, booty shorts, flip-flops, no bra,
Oh, yeah.
V-cut shirt. Looked like she was leaving for the beach right afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me speak on that one a little bit. So we do look at your social media before you come in, I will say. So I kind of knew what I was expecting and what I was getting. And I wanted to see a hot tamale. And we saw a hot tamale.
And it did not work out.
And it didn't work out.
Doesn't mean you have a great personality.
Yeah, she was great.
Maybe she did.
But
I don't even know.
didn't fit our niche vibe, whatever you're thinking.
I would personally like to see somebody put a little effort into it.
Same.
Yes.
I don't necessarily need to see you in, a business suit or anything like that. I do think that there's probably other bars that like to see the more revealing because maybe
Right.
that's what they're
We're
hiring
not.
for.
Yeah.
We choose not to hire for that. We've always said,
Yeah.
you need to cover up while you're
Yeah.
working. We don't ever want booties showing or, chest showing and stuff. So we're a little bit different. So I think it's maybe do your research on what type of bar it is. I mean, I
Yeah.
think what we would like to see is maybe a little bit different than what Redneck Heaven wants to see.
Yeah, it was a little
Yeah.
off. Yeah. It caught me off guard a little bit. It was a little much. Yeah.
It just shows little to no effort.
Yeah.
You just at that point think you're going to get it on your looks. And we actually did. We did give her a chance. And I think we saw so many red flags in the first little
There-
trial shift that we gave her. It was,
Yeah.
The red
I'm
flags
too
were-
good for this. I don't need to be trained. I already know more than y'all do. Y'all don't need to train me.
Yeah.
When can I start making money? Why am I not getting tipped out right now? I don't need this training.
Yes.
When do I get to start picking up my own shifts? And
Yeah.
it really, we got what we hired in a sense.
Yeah. The
and
red
it didn't
flags
last
lit
long.
on fire.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why it's good in
Yeah.
our industry to do a couple of training shifts.
Absolutely.
Tryout shifts, should I say,
For sure.
in order to do
I
that.
think people are pretty used to that in our industry too. So
And we are in Texas, so we don't have to really have a reason to fire you anyway.
yeah.
It's not the 60 days or 90 days or whatever it is. We're in Texas. We don't have to have a reason to let you go. We can let you go for any reason. But we don't have a lot of turnover in our bar, and I think that speaks to our success. I think it speaks to y'all's leadership and the leadership that y'all put underneath y'all and the systems in place that y'all have put in place to manage the expectations of a new hire and also get them in and set them up for success. That's one thing that you preach to us since day one, is make sure no matter what position it is, whether it's a door guy, whether it's a janitor, whether it's an administrative person, always set them up for success, because it's just not fair to do anything other than that. And I think that we've done a really good job of that. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
On the end of going out on this podcast or this show.
Yeah.
Would you hire your 21-year-old self?
You know, for me, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, I will say openly, I gave drinks away. I hooked up my friends. I don't do that in my bar now. I don't buy anybody a drink now because I'm not the owner. I didn't understand what it actually does to the bottom line of a business.
Yeah.
But as far as an employee, yes. I never called in. I never gave up my shifts. I was always on time. I knew what my set schedule was. I showed up. I was in uniform every single time I worked. And I was always happy to be there. I loved my job. It was Woody's for a decade, and I loved my job. I enjoyed going to see the people that I worked with. I enjoyed going to see the clientele and the guests that came in. Made a lot of money doing it. So I would hire my 21-year-old self. I would just keep a better eye on me. You know, but
And I
that's
think
just...
if you went and worked for John again now, you would definitely ring everything up.
I would definitely ring everything up. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's so, I mean, I don't want them to sit here and lie to me and say they've never stole from me when they were just employees by giving away drinks or not ringing something up. Or it's just the nature of our business, unfortunately, because a smaller tab to a friend equals a bigger tip to us. And we know that. We know how that works. But unfortunately, it does all the way boil down to just theft. It really is theft. And that's something that we don't put up with in our bars now. And it's something that one of my regrets of a long time is basically ever, you know, hooking people up and stuff like that at the bars, because now that I'm a bar owner, it's like being a parent. You know what I mean? You don't really care until you're a parent. It's kind of the same thing. Like now that I have my own babies, I would never treat them the way that I treated somebody else's baby. But
I'm with you. I would definitely hire my 21-year-old self, but I would never have allowed drinking while you're working. That was a big, me personally, man, I took a shot. If I was going to take a shot, I was going to take 5 throughout my shift. And that just loosifies you know, it just loosens up everything. So don't get me wrong. I did have a great time. I did ring everything in that I tried to ring in. I did show up to work not on time. I did show up to work every time I had a shift, maybe 5 minutes late, in uniform, happy to be there. You know, I definitely did all of that for sure. Never would have allowed myself to drink behind the bar.
Yeah.
Honestly. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely, honestly, I feel like 21-year-old me, yeah. I have fun. Yeah, it's like the biggest thing with me is just like, it's
so much fun.
The personality I have now is the same personality I had then. That's because I worked at Buttons kind of a little bit. There was sometimes
you were a prick when you were younger.
Absolutely.
You do not have the same attitude.
No.
I do.
I didn't see you smile for the first 3 years.
You know, Matt told me again 2 days ago. Matt's told me this 100 times now. Man, that Jawan, I couldn't stand him when I first met him. He was such a prick when I met him. He goes, but that Jawan, he is fierce smart. And he is just such a
21-year-old me. He said 21. I wasn't 21 when I had her.
I'll just look at him. I guess you weren't 21.
Well,
How old were you?
But around that, 23, 24?
25, because 2014. Yeah, 25.
Okay.
She said the question was 21.
You're right. I just picture you as coming in.
Before you agreed with him.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, but you were.
She's like, damn, tell me how you really feel.
No, I just picture you. To me, you were so young when you first started working here.
Yeah,
maybe it was the other people.
I thought you were in your
21-year-old me was at Buttons. And
Yeah,
that's when I met, I'd met Keith Hicks before. And like he kind of took me on there as like him, Billy Kidd, and then Herbert Hughes. Like I told you about this whole Shakespearean actor type deal. So back then I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Okay.
But then I came to this side of the world,
You took that literally. Because I started 23, 24 here.
She said 21. The question was 21.
Well,
Yeah.
Either way, it's,
I didn't even drink at 21, to be honest with you. I didn't start drinking until I started bartending.
There you go.
Jawan's personality has definitely come out. And
100%. He didn't smile very much.
Yeah, it's definitely come out the older he gets and the more comfortable he's gotten.
Yeah, he was a mean-looking
I think they
guy.
want me to be giggly and everything. Half the time I'm like, thinking, I still do it to this day. I'm like thinking, I get zoned
And then the
out.
personality showed up. And then
I think the main theme though
kidding.
was it goes back to like you don't have to be the best.
Yeah.
You have to be reliable.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
And you have to know how to get along with people and have that personality.
And be coachable.
Yeah,
be
I think that
coachable.
speaks to you guys. Again, y'all have been with me for, over a decade now, and now y'all are bar owners in multiple bars and started out as drunk bartenders. So, and I'm not saying that wasn't me too. I was definitely the drunkest drunkest person in the bar on several different occasions while I was working. So, not something
while
I'm
I was
proud
working,
of.
probably never. I would.
Oh man,
While I was working, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's scary. That
Mine-
was scary.
I didn't remember. So
Mine was that people pleasing that came up. Sorry, I know we're finishing up this podcast. Mine was like, oh, Bailey, you want to take a shot with me? I'm like, well, heck yeah, you're my best friend. You're my best friend. And that catches up to you.
I was definitely,
So
I was definitely the drunkest person in the bar.
Couldn't
But
do it.
yes, I would hire myself.
Yep.
And I did interview well. And I think that going back full circle to what we were talking about is, when you go into an interview with someone, know what you want, know your expectations, know how to read people, know how to be graceful with them, give them a little bit of grace, give them a little bit of leeway. Give them opportunities to let their personality show and answer questions honestly and not try to put them too much on the spot, and just really give them an opportunity to show you who they really are. And I think that we've had some really good success by being really open-minded in interviews. And even though it didn't start out well or their presentation wasn't awesome, we were able to look past some of that stuff and really gain some really great hires. Because again, even though you don't have the bubbly personality, that you do now, when you first no, that's what I'm saying. But when you first started, it's come out so much more, and you actually had one of the larger followings of all of us in the bar, and that's just because speaks to your personality and your character and the person that you are, and same thing for you as well. So I think that just showing a little bit of grace and a little bit of leniency in an interview is really, really important, but also watch for those red flags. Are they talking bad about their other bar? Are they making excuses? Is everything always someone else's fault? No matter what happened when they lost their job, it wasn't their fault. It was never their fault. I think it shows a lot of someone's character and their and who they are when they can say, hey man, I just actually really messed up. I love the job. I had a great boss. I had a great time working there, and I just messed up and I lost my job, and it's something I severely regret. I would rather hear that than my boss had it out for me. You know what I mean? Your boss is just trying to run a business. So
I think one of the things we skipped as well too, one thing we should be looking for is the alcoholic shakes.
Oh,
That
man.
is a big thing.
Yeah.
I have tremors
Well, no,
permanently,
no,
and I
no.
always worry that people think it's the alcohol
No, but you can
shake. So
smell
you
it.
have to be leery.
You can smell it on somebody as well too.
Yeah, for
Or you
sure.
can see it in their eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see
their
it in
eyes
you see it.
show
Their eyes,
everything.
their eyes will tell.
Yeah, there are certain there are trimmers, yes, because there are certain features, but then there are the shakes of the hand, holding it down.
Well, and normally if you have a bartender like that or somebody in the service industry that comes in and applies for a job, normally you probably see them every day in your bar anyway.
Yeah.
So you already kind of know what you're going to get.
Right.
And that is someone also I will not hire. I don't like to hire friends. I tell them all the time, and I highly, highly, highly encourage you guys to take this advice. When you're a business owner, you're not in the business of employing your friends. It will be one of the biggest mistakes that you have. And I think that we can end with that, because that is a game changer. So, well, thanks for watching the podcast. Tune in next time. Hit like and subscribe, and drop any questions that you may have for us in the bottom. Thanks. Until next time.